Yes. And what would you say, or what would be your advice to someone who wants to start a world travel on motorbike today?
Well, as somebody at my age in the 60s, you start finding yourself getting less energy, and that's harder to get yourself motivated, I think. And it's very easy to fall into the trap of not fighting that, just accepting it and lying back. And I remember when I was in India, driving across India, stopped at a petrol station, and the guy took my helmet off, and the guy saw my grey hair, and he said, "What age are you?" And I said, "I'm 65."
Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm Caroline Biesalski and I'm thrilled to have you here. On this show, we go beyond the ordinary, diving into the stories of remarkable individuals from around the globe, leaders, entrepreneurs, authors, and creatives who have made bold choices to pursue their passions. Each guest on Inspired Choice today has a unique journey to share, filled with insights, breakthroughs, and lessons that inspire and uplift. My goal is to bring you real conversations that fuel your own journey, whether you're seeking personal growth, business wisdom, or simply a spark of inspiration to say yes to your own dreams. Thank you for joining us on this journey of transformation and purpose. Now, let's get into today's inspiring interview. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Chris Donaldson. And I'm so happy that you said yes to our interview today. How are you doing?
I'm great, Caroline. How are you?
Wow, I'm fantastic because I meet you and I would love to introduce you to the audience, of course. So you expanded your family's furniture business from Belfast to London and Dublin, later franchising fitness and tech ventures, including a mobile app company in Dubai, where you lived on a yacht. An adventurer, you sailed, flew a self-built airplane, and traveled across continents on your Motor Guzzi. You have to help me with the pronunciation. Le Mans
That's good.
bike. Is it
That's good.
correct?
Yes.
Yes. And your 43-year journey began in 1979, ended in 2023 when you finally reached Australia on the same bike. Now back in Belfast, you collaborate with Jeff Aditi and enjoy life as a father of two daughters with whispers of a book project surfacing even beyond the grave. Wow. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast. I'm impressed. Chris Donaldson.
Thank you.
My first question to you is, what motivated you to pursue such diverse ventures from furniture to fitness to mobile apps?
Well, I suppose I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur, and I look back at life. But there's always been a connection of sort of marketing and sales through all the things that I've done. Initially through retail furniture, retail selling to the public. I think the public everywhere is very difficult to sell to. And that's I cut my teeth, as we would say, in selling to the public in furniture. Then I opened a property, transferred to property. And again, you're selling space. You're selling not so much sales, but presenting and producing what people want. Um, but 10, 15 years ago, when the property crashed, the banks took away my property. So I sort of had to go back on the sales marketing line again. And I started a fitness company doing ladies' fitness, a diet company for weight loss. And through that, the marketing, a mobile app company. And I suppose through all those things, there is marketing you have to sell. It's just a different way of selling to people. And I'm an author. I suppose it's like yourself, probably. You think when you write a book, that's it done. You just print it and forget about it. But actually, there's a lot of sales and marketing going on with even writing a book as well.
Yes, absolutely. I love your book project and thank you for sharing. And my next question is, how has your long journey with the Moto Guzzi Le Mans shaped your outlook on life?
Well, it's when I left Belfast in 1979. Belfast wasn't a very nice place to be. There was bombings and shootings going on. So a lot of myself, I was only 21, but a lot of my contemporaries wanted to get out of town. After finished studying, I left. So wanted to go to Australia and work there, but I'd only got as far as London from Belfast to London, and the Ayatollah Khomeini took over the American embassy in Tehran, and that basically closed my journey east. So I was sort of lost for where to go, and I ended up going through the Middle East, down through Africa, down through across the Sahara, down through East Africa to South Africa. Pretty much in the middle of apartheid. Africa was pretty rough going in those days. Idi Amin was just out. Rhodesia was just transferred to Zimbabwe, so there's a lot of sort of trouble there too. I took a boat. Got a job in a yacht race going up back to Europe, back to Amsterdam, and then went to the States, traveled around the States, and then down to South America. So it was quite a varied journey, and I basically went everywhere apart from the place I wanted to go to, which was Australia. So I finally decided to write a book about it all after I got back from Dubai about 4 years ago. And it's done very well. It's been a bestseller on Amazon. It's called Going the Wrong Way, just to get a plug in. It's been it's obviously about my travels on a motorbike, but it's more about a coming of age story, really. It's a young guy, 21, seeing the world on his own, away from all the distractions and attractions of living in civilized Europe. So, and then once I wrote the book a couple of years, 3 years ago, my friend said to me, "Well, you never actually got to Australia yet." So we decided it would take the same motorbike. I'm the same person, obviously, 43, I'm now 65, 66. So it's sort of at the end of my working life, as opposed to the beginning of my working life, to do the same journey. So it's been an interesting comparison of the motorcycle and myself.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, I assume that is the dream of many, many people to travel the world, right? But how, when you shared it, it was like unexpected as well, where you landed then.
Yeah, I mean, it's got quite popular overland motorcycling now, but 40 years ago, there was really no such thing as adventure riding, adventure this, that, and the other. You just headed off on a standard motorbike and see what happens. But now with the internet, with everything on being online, there's so much information for you. You know exactly where you're going, what's going to happen, what it's going to be like when you get there. So it takes a bit of fun out of it, but you can still be daft and not find out what's ahead of you. Just go by the seat of your pants.
Yes, absolutely. It was different. We had those maps, those printed maps, something
Yes,
on paper. There were, and maybe you had no map, and then you had to ask people, right?
that's right. Yeah, I remember when I was going down through Africa, I got to the bottom of Sudan and my map ran out. I had to find somebody who was coming back north and we swapped maps. I gave him my map and he gave me his Southern Africa map. But until then, I didn't know what was below. So it's sort of crazy these days because everything you want, you just press a couple of buttons on your iPhone. You've got your GPS, your map, Google Maps. Everything is there for you, you know. You can book your next hotel 100 miles down the road. You can find out everything you need. So it's sort of, as I said, it takes the fun out of it. I don't know about kids these days, how they're going to. I think when we were older, but before GPS, you learned how to navigate by having not a sixth sense, but by having a sense of direction. Whereas now you just ask the girl and she tells you where to go.
Yes, also by navigating by the stars and old instruments as well, or a
I'm not
compass.
quite that old.
And not that old, like the I don't know the word.
Uh,
Um,
sailors are old, yeah.
pilgrim father, right? Yeah.
Yes, well, funny enough, when we sailed back from South Africa in the race, we used a sextant to take
Mhm.
a sight from the stars and the horizon. And if it was a cloudy day, you couldn't do that. You'd had to just go by dead reckoning for a couple of days. You didn't know where you were exactly.
Yeah, that's great. And it is so quick that we forget about that there were times without mobile phone and computer and GPS, as you mentioned. So what was the most challenging part of expanding your family business internationally?
Um, Probably moving to Dublin was quite difficult because Belfast is quite a small city, so it's going to bigger cities. Dublin was 100 miles from Belfast, but it's in a different country, and the south and the north of Ireland weren't great friends at that time, so it was quite challenging. And then moving to London to open there, everything's a lot more expensive, and the small guy coming into the uh, big international retailers' dominance. So we had quite a lot of uh, aggro from some of the bigger companies trying to stop us coming in and undercutting them and so on. But probably my biggest trial and tribulations has been when the property crash hit 15 years ago, 12 in 2009. I had to fight with the banks to keep my property. I had to put my company into receivership, and I had to learn how to go to law, to go to court, to challenge the lawyers, the bank's lawyers, to get my properties back, which I did after 3 years. So that was probably my most challenging time.
Yes, I think so. When you have to wait 3 years, but you don't know in the beginning. So it's like traveling without GPS. You have an idea where you are going, but you don't see the path 90% of the time. You don't see the goal, right?
Yeah, and like traveling places across the desert, across the Sahara, you're traveling for 5 days without seeing anybody much. We're traveling on a convoy, but it's probably one of the most challenging times physically and mentally. And really going up against a lawyer in a courtroom is only just words rather than fighting with the desert and sands. So I was able to, I think doing that sort of thing gave me the perseverance and the self determination to keep going.
Wow, I love that you share this, that it helped you to stay persistent and also confident, let's say. Mhm.
Definitely.
Yes. I mean, yeah, that you learned this. And can you share a memorable story from your years living on a yacht in Dubai?
Yes, well, I was living, we decided it was so expensive to buy to rent a property. So for the price of 2 years' rent, I was able to buy an old yacht. And there was some great times because we were basically in a marina in the middle of Dubai, living in a club. So it was like being on holiday 52 years of the 52 weeks of the year. But we could get the boat ready for going to sea in about half an hour, and we did went racing against the other yachts. People would come down for the day and take their boats out sailing, and we'd be taking our home out around the bay. It was fascinating.
Yes, I think so. I would like to go there one day. I like traveling too. And what inspired you to build your own airplane, and how has it impacted your approach to new challenges?
Well, that was one of the dafter things I did. It was myself and the local my local bar owner decided we would build an airplane because we wanted a seaplane. We wanted to be quite specific in what we wanted. And we wanted a challenge as well to build something which flew. So he had a beer store in the back of his yard. So literally we did build it in the back of the pub. Um, but it was quite a challenge because it was an American design and they hadn't finished the design work before we started building. They hadn't finished with the prototype. So we were sort of being the prototype for them. We had problems with the landing gears breaking down and that sort of thing. So it was quite a difficult thing to do. I don't really recommend it. People want to go flying and people who like building airplanes, but it's quite unusual to get people who like doing both. So we
Yes.
finally got the plane flying and it flew quite well, but we heard reports from the guys in the States in America that some of their wings had damaged. There was a design fault in some of the wings, and a couple of the planes there, their wing fell off. So we decided not to fly ours anymore. So it's now in a museum.
Oh, wow.
So it was
It's
a
in a
great challenge to
museum.
build it. It was a great sense of achievement building something to fly. It flies, but sometimes you're better to buy it off the peg or rent it.
Yeah, that reminds me of the Wright brothers.
It was a bit like that, yes.
Yeah, like the Wright brothers. So you talked already about your book a little bit, and I don't know if I understood it right that you are writing a second one. Can you tell us more about your book and where people can find you when they want to connect or reach out to you?
Yes, I mean, I wrote the book, as I say, because I'd heard of a few people like Top Gear and Ewan McGregor and people like that doing around the world stories. But I wanted to tell people what it was like to actually do it on your own without any backup, any support, because it was a trip that made a great difference to my life. And the book was released on Amazon 3 years ago, and it's got over 1,400 five-star reviews. So it's really hit a spot with people because it's a story of it's a bit of a road trip. It's a coming of age story. It's motorbikes. It's learning about the countries they're traveling through. It's touches a lot of different things, and it's some of the reviews. People have been very kind and said how it's helped them get over problems and overcome obstacles as well. Um, and as I was saying, you think once you've written a book, that's it. But by self-publishing, you have to be your publicist, your author, your marketing guy, your just about everything. But it's amazing how the technology's changed so much. By writing a book in Belfast, you can sell it all over the world in ebooks and Kindle and audiobooks. It's quite fantastic. But yes, it's an Amazon Going the Wrong Way by Chris Donaldson. I say.
Yes. We will put the link in the show notes, of course. Thank you so much for sharing. And I remember I checked out your Instagram account, and there were also pictures of your book with famous people, I think. So yeah,
Yes,
it was impressive. Yeah.
yes, it's on my website too, chrisdonaldson.world. I'm not very good with I'm doing Facebook and Instagram, but I'm too old to get up to date with them all. That's the way you have to keep in touch with it, keep it on the top of everything now, you know.
Yes, I understand. That's amazing. Okay, please reach out to Chris. He's amazing. And also check out the book. Of course, I have another question for you. Do you set goals for yourself or intentions? And what is one of your next projects?
Yeah, I try and set goals because I think if you don't, you just float around through life not achieving an awful lot. I've always wanted to have my wife says I always need to have a project, something to aim for, which is good things and bad things about it. She never finds I never relax for long enough. But yeah, I'm writing a book about finally getting to Australia on the same motorbike, which is, as I say, is comparing new technology and old technology and an old guy who's 65 retiring against the young guy 21, and just how the same person approaches the same similar problems gets a different outcome. Um, so I'm writing a book about that called Adventure Before Dementia because a lot of my friends are hitting 60 odd. You find people get ill, your friends get, some of them are passing away, unfortunately. So it's a different stage of life, and you're not looking ahead. You're looking ahead, but without so much time on work, you're able to spend time with your family and spend time with yourself. So looking forward to that more.
Yes. And what would you say, or what would be your advice to someone who wants to start a world travel on motorbike today?
Well, as somebody at my age in the 60s, you start finding yourself getting less energy, and that's harder to get yourself motivated, I think. And it's very easy to fall into the trap of not fighting that, just accepting it and lying back. And I remember when I was in India, driving across India, stopped at a petrol station, and the guy took my helmet off, and the guy saw my grey hair, and he said, "What age are you?" And I said, "I'm 65." He said he laughed. He says, when in my country, when people are 65, they're sitting in the kitchen, reading, smoking, reading the paper, and looking after the children. They don't do anything at all like this. And in our culture, I think we spend too much time in front of Netflix, just watching time go by. Really, my advice to anybody, especially when you're older, just get off your butt, get off your ass, and get out and do it if you think you can do it. I mean, I can still ride across the world on a motorbike, which I had trouble doing when I was 21. So if I can still do it at 66, anybody can.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. So your message is just start because it's the start that stops most people, right?
Yeah, I mean, people start to think, well, I need to think about that. I need to make plans, and I think people very often use plans and worrying about this and can I do this. They use this as reasons for not doing it. Whereas if you just get off your butt and start doing it, a lot of things fall into place generally, and you obviously need to make plans to some extent, but I mean, going the wrong way book just shows very much how traveling things happen day after day, and if you want to go to a direction, you will get there. You don't need to burden yourself down with too many plans and too many things to carry and places to go. Just get off and do it.
Yes, and it is remarkable that your goal was to travel to Australia and that you didn't reach it so quickly, so to say. But you always stuck to your goal, but you changed the plan when it was necessary, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got there 42 years late. But I think
Oh,
Australia is a wonderful place, and I do sometimes wonder if I'd left Belfast 2 or 3 weeks earlier, I would have got past Iran before the revolution started. And if I got to Australia when I was 21, I probably would have stayed there and worked there and just built a life there. So it's amazing how things outside your control can make a huge difference in the direction of your life.
yes, absolutely. So your story is very encouraging to everyone who wants to start their journey. And yeah, it's one thing, I did a road trip last year. It was 4 weeks or so, 2000 miles in the US, but I was in my car. And I
Yeah.
thought this is adventurous already. But when I hear your story, of course, you're a great example for me, and I want to do this also, not on motorbike. I think this is not my. I can be courageous to do this, but not on my own. I don't have a driver's license yet for for the motorbike, but I think in certain countries you don't even need a driver's license, right?
Well, for a small motorbike, there's people going around the world on 125s and small motorbikes as well. But motorbike's just a great way of doing it because there's nothing between you and people when you stop and meet people. You're in a car, you have to get out of the car, the windows in front. It gives you security, but it also keeps a barrier between you and the other people that you're trying to meet and talk to and learn about, have a good time. So it's motorbike's a great connection to just to talk to people, meet people at the side of the road, and whatever happens. So the magic starts whenever you stop the motorbike. It's not actually riding the motorbike is what the important bit. It's actually when you stop and meet people and see what other lifestyles are going on, other cultures.
Yes, I love that aspect. I never thought of it that way. Of course, for me, it was the opposite. I wanted to be protected. I was
Mm.
traveling by myself or so, and then I needed this car. But I see this aspect of connection because it's the most important thing. When you travel, you want to learn about the cultures as well and new languages, maybe. Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you so much for our interview. I have now a little idea how it was 43 years on the road on your motorbike. And of course, I would like to ask you for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
Well, as I say, if you can get out of if you're my age of 65, most people are coming out of your work environment. And it can be quite difficult because you're so used to doing something for the last 40 years. You maybe had a place in society, a great place in a company. You should be quite well thought of at that stage. It's one of the biggest changes in life. Even when you're a student, when you're starting work, all these things are gradual. But when you stop work, it's very sudden generally for most people. So it's like sit down, think about it, decide what you want to do, and go out and do it.
Yes, decide what you want to do and then go for it. Thank you so much for your message and our interview.
Been a pleasure, Caroline. Nice to talk to you.
And see you in the next episode. Thank you for tuning in to the Inspired Choice Today podcast. We hope you found today's conversation as enriching as we did. If you're feeling inspired and ready to take the next step in your own journey, I'd love to offer you a free 20-minute consultation. This is a chance to explore any challenges you're facing, get clarity on your goals, or just connect and discuss where you want to go next. Reach out to me directly to schedule your consultation. I'd be honored to support you on your path. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a new episode filled with inspiration, insights, and powerful stories. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices every